Hello, everybody, and welcome to the week two Zoom meeting for this course. And I'm a little under the weather today, to be perfectly honest, but didn't want to miss the meeting. Want to make sure I get you out some important information, especially with a discrepancy that I found in one of our assignments for this week. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started, and then we can get finished. So let me just pull up my presentation here. And here we go. All right, so one of the things I like to do each week is offer a reflection of what I've seen from the class as a whole for the week, so that way you can kind of see if you're on pace with the rest of the course, the people in the course, or if there's some things you need to work on, or what's kind of going on overall for the class. So first of all, discussion posts were just fantastic. Everybody really did a great job. There wasn't one that I read and was like, yeah, that's just not thorough enough. So keep that going. Another thing I was really impressed with was APA formatting. So far, I have not seen anybody with poor APA formatting in the course. Now, there's been a couple of mistakes here and there, and we'll definitely make sure you are aware of those so you can make those corrections. So please always read the comments on the assignments and in the discussion post. Now, I will say with the discussion post, if you wind up getting all the points that you deserve for that one, if you get the full 10 out of 10, there probably won't be comments there. With assignments, there will always be comments, so please make sure you take the time and read what I have to write for you, including the embedded comments within a paper. Public policy papers so far are excellent. I've only had a few that I've graded, but they've looked great so far, so hopefully that trend will keep going. Remember, that is due today, and so that leads into the final comment, which is watch your deadlines. Remember that we only have 3 things due on 2 days in this course. Initial discussion posts are due on Thursdays, and assignments and peer responses are due on Sundays. It should be pretty easy to remember, so don't make the mistake of submitting things late and losing points. Okay, so this past week, you had your public policy paper, which I said was kind of like a chance for me to preview your writing skill and be able to offer some feedback as you begin over the next 6 weeks the process of writing your final research paper. And it really starts today with your research proposal. And then we'll be going into week 3 and 4, which is the annotated bibliography, which is a similar assignment for both weeks. But they are 2 separate assignments. And then you'll be getting into doing an outline, completing your purpose statement, and then finally submitting your final paper. But we're not going to wait until week 7 to write that research paper. We're going to start it a little bit earlier, but not this early, because first things first, you got to have a research proposal that's been approved. Because, I'm going to go back to this, you can't move on to weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until week 2 is completed and approved by me. So it's very important. I've got a couple of you that are really being proactive and trying to get things done, maybe because you've got a trip, or maybe because you're one of those people that like to be ahead. You cannot move on to a graded week 3 paper until your week 2 paper has been approved. So we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about our discussion post for this week. And it's got a couple of different questions in it. What of the many evaluative criteria are the most important? And so there's just a couple of different options here. And maybe there's something else that's not listed here that you can look at. But talk about which evaluative criteria is the most important and why. And are some criteria more important for certain kinds of policy questions than for others? So think through this one. Remember, initial post due on Thursday, peer responses due on Sunday. So your research proposal. Okay, so for this one, you're going to be submitting to me a research question that will be used as part of your, and it says week 5, I apologize, that should say week 7, final paper. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to show you the list and everything, but you're going to propose the question, and then you're also going to be proposing a rationale for why this even matters in the first place. So to do this, you need to do a little bit of research before you come up with your question. So you're going to look at the topics, and then do some research on the topics to see which one is going to be something that you want to write about as far as a research-based public policy paper. So it should be based off of interest. It should be based off of your ability to be able to find plenty of research, And it should be based off of relevancy too, which that should be the easiest one to do because anything on this list should be relevant. So let's take a look at the list real quick here. So here we go. This is broken up into two different areas. So there's education related, and then there's outside of education. And you can choose from any of these, but I want you to choose from one of these choices here. So please don't go beyond this at all. But you can see that there's quite a variety. So if you're in the education field, a lot of people want to choose like merit pay for K-12 teachers, and that's just fine. Others want to look into unfunded federal mandates because that's always a big topic as well. However, if you do a lot of stuff with education, you want to look outside of it, there's a lot of things on here that definitely have some weight for today. And so take a look: alternative energy problems, Federal Reserve Bank, U.S. immigration visas for foreign investors, all kinds of different things for you to look at and choose from. So find an area that's interesting to you, but it's got to be something that you can be objective with. So for an example, merit pay for K-12 teachers, always a popular one. But what I notice with people is that they can't stay objective with it because people kind of come in already having opinions about merit pay. And when you're writing a research paper, it needs to be objective. You need to be able to show both sides of the topic and not let your emotions get in the way. So if merit pay is one of those topics you feel really strongly about in one way or the other, I would actually suggest not choosing it, finding something that maybe you can be a little more objective about. So as I was looking through, you know, as we make the switch from a 5-week course to a 7-week course, there's going to be some bumps in the road. And this was one of those that I looked at. And actually, it was one of your colleagues in the class that brought it up to my attention and made me go, wow, that's not right. And so in the instructions, it says that this paper should be 6 to 8 pages. That's not necessary for what we're doing here, okay? So in all honesty, 1 to 2 pages should be plenty, okay? You can knock this out in a page, but really probably don't need to exceed 2 pages as far as the body, okay? You'll need a title page and you'll need a reference page. You don't need an abstract. So I want to be real clear about this. So 1 to 2 pages in length, excluding the title and the reference. I don't want an abstract, okay? This is a research proposal. It should be pretty basic and to the point, okay? Now the other thing, incorporate a minimum of 5 current, published within the last 5 years, scholarly journal articles. I'm not going to put a number on how many you need to submit. You should have a couple because you should have done a little bit of research in order to determine that, hey, this is the area I want to focus in on, and this is going to be my research question. And you need to be able to cite some of that research in your proposal and your justification here, okay? But I don't know if you need 5. You're going to be doing a lot of research for this paper, and maybe you don't need to start with this much here for your research proposal. So I'm not going to give you a number. I'm going to say some. You need to have some scholarly journal articles referenced in your paper and cited in your reference list, but maybe you don't need to have 5, but they do need to be published within the last 5 years. So I will keep firm on that. So I always tell everybody, watch the Zoom meetings. And for the people that don't, I guess this is going to be one of those times where I'm going to know who's watched it and who hasn't. So now you've got the adjusted instructions there, and I'll be working with St. Thomas to fix that in the future. These are things that are going to pop up, so it's always good to watch the Zoom videos for these examples. Okay, so let's talk about your research question. So your question should be grounded in background information, but display your independent thought, and it needs to be clearly stated. All right, it needs to be the first sentence of your research proposal, so I know this is the question that you're looking to ask. Now, be really careful. Just like writing a dissertation, you want a really exact type of research question, because if you go too broad, there's going to be too much that you're having to fill in there. If you go too narrow, you may not have enough research out there. So you're looking for that just right sort of research question. So keep it objective, keep it grounded in background information, and really kind of think through what's an important question to ask in terms of your topic area, something that can be a little bit groundbreaking. Don't ask a question that's already been answered 1,000 times, okay? Let's look at an example from one of the previous classes, okay? And this was their entire paper, really, for the most part. And so look, right off the bat, boom, research question asked, has implementing merit pay for K-12 teachers met its goal? And then the author goes right into the rationale as to why this would be an important question. And look, she had three different scholarly references added into the paper, gives a good justification here, and boom, she's finished. This does not take 6 to 8 pages to do, that's for sure. She was able to knock this out just like this, and you can too, okay? So this is a great example for you to use, so keep that in mind. So as you do your research proposal, here's some things you should go ahead and just check off your list. If you can answer yes to all these things, then you're good to go. Number 1, is my research question stated in the first sentence? Absolute must. I want to be able to pinpoint your research question right off the bat. Okay? Is your research question focused on just one area? Are you writing it in a way where it seems like you're trying to target a lot of different areas? If so, thin it down a little bit, okay? Is my research question an actual question? Sometimes people will give a statement and think that that's a research question, okay? Remember, questions end with question marks, so that should be a no-brainer. Do I provide rationale for why this research question is important? I have had students just submit the research question and think that that's going to do for this assignment. No, you need to have rationale attached to it. Does your rationale include scholarly evidence? It should. Okay, this is not going to be just an editorial about why you think this is an important question. I want you to back it up with some of the research you should have done prior to developing your research question. Okay, is my rationale approximately 1 page in length? 1 to 2 pages, that's fine by me. Do I have a reference list? As long as you can mark yes to all of these things, you're in great shape. So there we go. Hopefully that simplifies this week for you a little bit. I'm sure for some of you that went ahead and read ahead, that you got a little panic saying, great, now I've got another 6 to 8 page paper I've got to do. Will the madness ever end? Well, yes, the madness will end now. And so if you have any questions this week, as always, please shoot me an email. Remember to get your public policy paper submitted today. Remember to get your 2 peer responses submitted today. And I will have them all graded for you. So have an excellent week. Stay in touch, and I will talk to you next week.